3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? This is the Undefeated by Choice podcast brought to you by Still Fist Fights. We are here with the bantamweight champion, the Still Fist bantamweight champion, Agustin Valdez. What's going on, man?
Not much. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm glad you're here. Happy you're the first one of this card to come out and start doing some promotions.
Thank you. Once again, thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure to be here.
It's our pleasure, man. I always like to start out the show with talking about the nickname. Now, I've been looking for yours. I can't see you anywhere with the nickname. Do you have one?
I do have one, actually.
Yes, let's hear it.
I guess I don't throw it out there that much.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, my nickname since I started doing MMA is Golden Boy.
Okay, all right. So who gave it to you? How'd you get it?
It actually wasn't given to me as I started fighting. It was more of a almost leaving high school kind of thing. Mm-hmm. A lot of people used to tell me I had this sort of look from far away. I'm hoping far. I'd hoping they'd say from nearby, from a nearby distance, because but they're like, no, like if a quick glance, you kind of look like Oscar De La Hoya. Okay. And then I used to be a big boxing fan, and he was actually one of my favorite boxers of all time. So it just made sense. Everyone was like, oh, you look like Oscar De La Hoya. And they knew that I did Taekwondo growing up. Uh-huh. I was already doing the wrestling in high school and whatnot and starting to do the MMA thing. So they're like, oh, Golden Boy. And it just went from there and it stuck. So once I actually started fighting, when I had my first fight, they asked me what my nickname was. I couldn't think of anything but Golden Boy. So it stuck from there. So
I like it. You had that one for a long time then.
I have.
And you could do worse, man. You could do worse. If people say you look like Oscar De La Hoya from a distance, that ain't bad. You could be doing worse. So that's not too bad. So you're in camp right now. What part of the process of camp are you at? We're a month out? Less than a month out?
Correct. We're a little less than a month away from the fight. Currently, weight-wise, I'm sitting good. I'm walking around 149, almost 150, so I still have about 15 pounds to cut, but
you got plenty of time to get that.
I've done it in the past, so it's not a thing that's impossible to do. Training-wise, everything's going great, man. No injuries, nothing to worry about. Training's been going smooth. It's been going strong. Obviously, the last month is that month where you want to go hard and you're pushing it, but at the same time, you want to train smart, not that hard, right. Because you don't want to risk getting injured, getting close to the fight, and you're stuck in that position of, oh crap, what do I do?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask that very question. What's the? I was gonna ask if you're heavy drilling or heavy sparring right now.
Yeah, I want to say the sparring, it's somewhat hard still, mm-hmm. but not as hard as we usually go. A little bit earlier. Maybe when we're 2 months, 2.5 months. That's still a good enough cushion to, if in case something happens, we can still kind of recover from it, both physically and mentally too. Right. Because even a lot of people don't think it messes you up. Mentally, but more than just as it affects you physically, it affects you mentally too, and you got to just kind of like pick the ball up and run with it.
Yeah, I think not enough people understand that an injury can be, you get a little injury and it takes you out for even 2 weeks and you're like, man, I don't want to ever do that again, and all of a sudden you're scared to do anything that's going to aggravate that. Or I remember I was just helping Dom get ready for a fight, and he landed on my shoulder, his big fat butt landed on my shoulder, and it went out, and I was out for like 2 weeks, and then I was scared to grapple. I was scared to come back and grapple after that, because I was just like, man, at least I can still spar right now, but if I grapple again, what if my shoulder goes out again? He's getting ready for this fight, and it messed with me mentally. I'm just a training partner. So, those of you who are actually getting in and actually doing it.
Yeah, and it's one of those where, it hits you in so many ways, man. It hits you in the way that, like you say, you're so focused on the injury, you're not even focused on the training aspect of things, You want to get the work in, but you're also super concerned about not getting injured or getting injured, and you want to prevent that from happening again, or you want to, sometimes we're stubborn. For us, a week off of training, drilling, sparring, anything that goes behind the training, a week is a lot, because we could put in a lot of work in that week, and us losing out on that week because of an injury, it's kind of it's a bummer for sure.
Yeah, and it does mess with your mind. You're like, man, he didn't take a week off, and I did.
And us being stubborn, as fighters, that's what we are, right? We fight through it, and we're stubborn to, we'll just tape it or we'll wrap it, we'll be all right. And then here we are again, sparring, and we start at 25%, 50%. All of a sudden, we're going 70, 80. It starts getting serious, and then as soon as the session ends, you're like, no, I'm good. But the body, it's warm at that time, but then you're driving back home, and once you're driving back home, it's a totally different story. You start shifting, you start using your steering wheel, making a few turns. You're like, oh man, like I didn't feel that kick come in, or I didn't feel my arm, so it's kind of a tricky situation. You gotta find that balance, so.
And you guys got an excellent coaching staff out there. I'm sure they are so good with the mental part of that game. Who are your head coaches? First of all, what camp are you out of? And then who are your head coaches that you work with mostly?
Right. So for the last 3 fights I've had, I'm going already on a year of training at One Hit MMA.
Okay.
And Bang Muay Thai.
Okay.
They're in Layton, Utah. The One Hit MMA is ran by Aldo Regia. He's from Brazil. He's my head coach. And another head coach that I have, but more on the striking side, is Jarrett Kelton with the Bang Muay Thai program. He's a Bang Muay Thai affiliate.
Yeah.
And man, striking, he knows his stuff.
Yeah,
and they both know their stuff. Obviously, we have other coaches. We have Joe Rodriguez with the wrestling, who also does fighting. Mm-hmm. Great fighter, great individual. I mean, he's one of my best friends, I can say, in the gym. I love talking to the guy. I just love seeing him. I love the company. We got LJ Schultz with the jiu-jitsu, all the grappling. And then we also have Crystal and Jordan Smith. They both recently started doing a more advanced type of course. It's more of like it's pretty much like a fighter-only class.
Okay.
So, there's definitely no fundamentals being covered there, no basics. I mean, by that time, if you're in that class,
you know what's up.
You at least know what's up with footwork, stance, distance, range, striking, how to throw a proper strike, proper kick, proper movement, and, and also mentally, man, because not a lot, you can have a lot of skill, but if the mindset's not there, that's a whole nother ballgame too. Yeah,
I was just talking to Brittany who fought on this last card. I was just talking to her this weekend. She was talking about how much the coaches how much her coaching staff, she trusted her coaching staff, Jarrett in particular, who she can call him at midnight and be like, I need hit mitts, and he's like, all right, let's go. And you don't get that at a lot of places. That's one of those camps that it's known to back their fighters. If you're one of those fighters, you show up, you put in the work, you show that you're committed to them, they commit to you right back. Right. And that's, there's I was just talking with another coach out in Vegas. I was talking with him today, and we were saying there's so few coaches. There's a lot of coaches, but there are so few that actually know what it takes to coach.
Right.
And I think you're in a great camp with great coaches who know how to coach. And,
right.
I haven't, I don't see, I've never seen I'm sure stuff goes on in camp, but I've never seen in fights a coach belittling a fighter, and I've seen that in other camps. I've seen that with other coaches belittling the fighter even before they go out. And I was gonna ask, well, what's your type of relationship with a coach? Because I've seen so many different types of relationships. Ones that respond when someone yells at them, or they shut down when the coach yells at them, or they have a coach that's more like a brother, or a coach that's more like a father. What do you feel like with the main coach that you work with? What do you feel like your type of relationship is, and how he can get the best out of you?
Well, I mean, the relationship is definitely different from fighter to fighter. That is true. Brittany Gilman is a perfect example. I think she has a very good relationship with all the coaches, but I think the strongest bond she has from fighter to coach is the one with Jared, and it's, you could see it. It's crystal clear, pretty much. For me, because of outside things, I got work going on. This isn't the only thing I do. I wish I could do it full time and, definitely make the money behind it.
Yeah.
But I have bills to pay. I have family to take care of. I have a lot of things to deal with. So for me, it's one of those where I don't have that tight-knit relationship with any of them specifically, but I just have a unique way of relating to each one of them individually.
Okay.
For example, Aldo, he's pretty much like a father figure to me. He's the head coach. Mm-hmm. He's the older coach. He carries the knowledge. The respect is there, mutual between both of us. Mm-hmm. I'm always on time to class. I always stick around to see if there's anything that we can cover. Tidying up the gym, just talking. I mean, sometimes it's with him. I think with him, he's the coach that I get to speak to more about my personal life than with any other coach. Okay. Just because there's more time, especially in the mornings. He's the morning coach usually. I tend to go a lot because I work nights, so morning classes are a thing for me, and, mm-hmm. and he's there. So again, with me going in there really early, we talk everything. We talk life, we talk fighting, we talk just pretty much anything. Yeah. But it's one of those things where it's when it's time for business, it's business. When it's time to play, it's time to play. Yeah. But the respect is always there. But I know I can trust him, and he knows he can trust me too. With Jared, it's a little bit different. He's the evening coach. He's just striking only. Mm-hmm. A really good guy. I have love for every single coach and every single training partner that I have there. I got love for everybody at that gym. I love being a part of that gym, and Jared is just more. It's just a different kind of approach with him. It's every person has a whole different mindset. Mm-hmm. Every person has a whole different aspect of coaching, aspect of training. It's totally different, man. Mm-hmm. So I mean, right now I just can't really. I'd probably be stuck here all night long telling you the nitty gritty details of each one individually. Uh-huh. Joe, same thing. I mean, always a smile on his face. Yeah. I know I can always talk about him, about any personal stuff with him, about any training stuff with him. He's always there, to listen. I listen to him as well. Anything that we have going on, I mean, it's just super chill, man. It's super positive, never negative. That's one thing that I really love about that gym, is that every single person that trains there and that coaches there, mm-hmm. in and out of that gym, they always go in there with a very positive attitude, and they always leave there with a very positive attitude. Yeah. Regardless of how the night went, as a team or individually, that's, I think, law of attraction. It's one of those where, sometimes as fighters, there are ego or whatever it is, it's like, man, like I got beat up in sparring, or mm-hmm. Man, like I just couldn't do what I wanted to do as I was driving into the gym. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna try this, or you know what I mean? And sometimes we beat ourselves up too much mentally, but you also got to think the outside, we're being looked by others too, mm-hmm. and you don't want to be that buzzkill individual to leave the spot like hating life and just pissed off. Yeah. And then instead of everybody feeling good about how the night went training overall, they're gonna attract that same negative energy, and you don't want that, you know what I mean? For sure. So instead, it's just kind of like, just brush it off. Next day will be a totally different day, totally new opportunities to come to execute whatever it is you failed to do that night prior. And just pick it up and run with it, and that's one thing I love, that every time I go in there, I can already feel that positive vibe, energy, and every time I leave, it's like, like I'm tired, I'm gassed, or I'm beat up, but it feels good overall. Like, it was a good experience. I was thinking while you're saying that, when you were saying earlier that you're at the part where you're about a month out, so you're not 100% in sparring, and then I thought, well, you're a one hit. How are you getting those guys down? How are you getting them less than 100%? Because I know you guys go hard in sparring. Yeah, I've sparred with Thomas Hughes a couple times and caught a few head kicks. So how do you? But I understand when you're with that team, and just what you're explaining, how tight you guys are as a team, how well you guys know each other, how you can walk in and everybody's gonna keep that vibe the same. Because I've been that guy that's walked into the gym that just, today is not the day, and I brought the whole vibe of the gym down, or the cage, like, and you have to pick each other up. But as a coach, what you're talking about is like, in a coach,
working atmosphere. I always look at it as a coach because I've always been a coach. I coached football for 2 decades, and I've always been around athletes. And the athlete that I always, gravitate towards or become close to are the ones who show up for business every single day.
Right.
And then those are the ones I'm like, well, you're going to be motivated whether I'm here or not. So now I want to get to know you. Now I want to get closer to you. Now I want to. The ones that show up and I have to motivate them every single time they step up, it's hard. It takes a lot out of me because I'm investing a lot into you, but I know the next day you're going to show up down again.
You kind of give up on them.
Yeah. And you never want to. You never want to as a coach, so you keep trying, but the ones I gravitate towards are the ones that I know whether I'm here or not, you're going to work.
Yep.
So then I'm like, okay, let me show you something. You know?
For sure.
And so that sounds like you got the right mentality. As far as from a coaching staff, like those are the types of athletes that most coaches want to deal with. The ones that you're going to be there regardless. You're going to show up ready to do work regardless. Now I'm going to invest my time into you because I know you're going to stick around for the long haul. Win, lose, or draw, you're going to be back. You're going to be here.
I agree.
So, I want to ask you a quick question about why CrossFit, man?
CrossFit?
Yeah, why CrossFit? CrossFit gets so much love and so much hate at the same time.
Yeah.
Why do you go with it? Why do you choose it?
Well, first off, if I may, let me do a quick shout out.
Yeah, shout out all you want.
A quick shout out. We've talked a little bit. We kind of dug into a little bit about the MMA side of my team. Mm-hmm. I carry also my strength and conditioning team, which right now for quite some time now has been CrossFit Antietam. CrossFit Antietam, they're a CrossFit facility located in Logan, Utah, which is where I live, in Cache Valley, Utah, and. Why CrossFit? That's such a good question. Why CrossFit? So, as I had already started fighting. I used to do my strength and conditioning. Pretty much just consisted of me running, doing cardio, whichever way I could, or whichever way people suggested was the better way to go. And weight work pretty much was traditional gym work. That was my approach for weightlifting. It was just a traditional. I used to go to Gold's Gym when it was open in the Valley, and that was my lifting, man. Yeah. But I started just noticing that. My muscle definition, everything. I was strong. I was bigger. But that pretty much made me sacrifice my cardio a lot. Especially those fights where I had to dig into the third rounds. Those rounds that either make you or break you. Yeah, those muscles are full of blood. Yeah, man, you're all pumped up. So, especially when you're trying to submission, your arms are worn out from you attempting something either with your feet, with your legs, or with your arms, whatever it is. So I just started noticing that I got good conditioning, good cardio, but at the end of the fight, I'm still tired. Like I'm still beat up. Yeah. Like I feel like my body can push no more. Of course, I'd still push, but it's one of those where your mind's saying yes, but your body's like, man, like you've given all you got, So it was just one of those things where I used to always go work out with my wife, and I used to, my wife used to hate it. She was like, man, this is just so boring, so monotonous. It's always the same. You give me the same exercises to do. And it went from us working out together at first, and then as the time went on, she would pretty much split. Like she'd be like, oh, just send me an Apple, like an Apple iNote with all the exercises and the weights, and I'm gonna go do my thing on my own, and you do your stuff because I'm sick of it. And I don't know, like just one day we sat down and her like, what do you think about CrossFit? Like, just something different, so it's like, and we knew right then and there a lot of people how much crap they gave CrossFit, like the kipping muscle ups and the assisted push ups and stuff that I'm not used to doing in a traditional gym. And we're like, what the hell? Let's try it. Okay. So we dropped the gym for a whole week. We were just kind of like box hunting because they call them boxes, right? They don't call them gyms. And we tried several facilities, man, and nothing negative to say about any of them that we tried, but it just didn't feel right. We were one of those where every time we walked in, you could feel a vibe right off the bat if you're gonna click with that place or not. You know what I mean? And so we tried a few places here and there, and every time we walked out, we were like, oh, cool, thank you, good experience, but we keep looking. Yeah. And the moment we walked into that gym, it was just different. The minute we walked in there, Back then I only had one daughter, now I have two. We put her in a little cube where all the kids play. Didn't bother us the entire time we were there. We didn't even have to worry about her. The first coach, walked us through the first class together, and obviously, I'm carrying baby weight because I'm used to curling and pressing. I'm not used to the Olympic CrossFit approach of lifting, So we're obviously doing snatches with like 45-pound bars, totally light, right?
Yeah.
And I went in there with a very humble attitude of learning first. The technique, I pretty much knew, hey, first technique, then the weight will start increasing as time goes by and experience goes up. So yeah, we were there doing the class, and I remember just middle of the class, my wife was like, "This is where we're staying." And it was just a good feeling. The coach was engaged with us. They were interested in having us learn, but it was kind of the approach they had was like, okay, this is the weight, but do what you feel you can do right now. But still kind of left that open space of, if you feel you could do more, or eventually you're gonna want to get to this point, if not higher. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when someone approaches you with that mentality, with that method of trying to teach you something, it really leaves a mark on you. Like, I'm not just considered a gym member here. Like, I'm actually part of something here, and they're willing to invest some time and effort into me getting better at this. You know what I mean? Yeah. And little by little, man, I honestly thought, we're gonna do this for a month or two, and then we're gonna eventually just lose the interest and just drop and end up going back to any traditional gym. No, man, right now I want to say we're on our 3rd year of doing CrossFit, and I agree, man. A lot of people give it crap. I get it. I see the funny videos floating around on social media. I get it. It happens, but I mean, it happens in any gym. It doesn't. It doesn't necessarily happen in just CrossFit. It happens at traditional gyms. It happens at MMA gyms. Injuries and bloopers happen. You know, you just gotta be careful. Start with a humble attitude, start slow, get the technique first, and then everything else will come as you get the technique. They say technique conquers all. So if you could get the technique down, everything will kind of fall into its place on its own. We started doing that, man. I personally don't consider myself a CrossFitter because, I mean, for sure, obviously,
you're a fighter.
I'm a fighter. MMA is my sport, and they know that too at the gym. They see me doing my thing, and for example, I have never been invited to any CrossFit competition, but because they know that for me CrossFit, and I even call it strength and conditioning. I don't even call it CrossFit, but it is CrossFit. But for me, CrossFit and that gym alone is my supplement to what I do. Okay. It's my strength and conditioning. It's what helps build my cardio. It's what helps build my strength, my endurance. But at the end of the day, my number one go-to sport is MMA. That's just a supplement to get me good at what I need here. But that's just part of what I do. You know, aside from that gym, I still go out. I do swimming. I do running. I go run up the hills. You name it. I go run. I recently bought some cheap soccer cleats just to go to a high school stadium, run sprints at the grass field. I'll do stadiums, whatever. Anything to get the body ready for what we do, which is fight.
Well, I remember when CrossFit first came out, like when it first became something big, and I was like, man, this would be perfect for MMA. At that time, I was just a fan of the sport. I was just a fan who watched the sport, and I was watching this style of working out, and I thought, that'd be perfect for MMA. It's the the lighter weight but good technique, but also it's building up endurance muscles, what I call them. It's building up endurance muscles that are going to, what you're talking about, take you into the late rounds. So I always was like, man, why are more fighters not jumping on this? And I remember Team Alpha Male really jumped on it. I don't know if they still push it up there, but they were opening up their gyms along with boxes, box gyms. Boxes? Just boxes?
Yeah, just boxes.
Just boxes.
They call them boxes.
Okay, just boxes. And so I was always, interested in it. But I went to a class, and maybe it's just the wrong class, but I went, and I was like, this is fun. I like it. But my buddy made made the mistake of telling this guy, hey, this is his first time at the gym, or his first time here, and so they wanted to keep an eye on me. But I grew up lifting, so I knew technically how to do the lifts, and it was something as simple as like a deadlift, and I'm like, I know how to deadlift, but he was like over my shoulder, and he's like, no, do this. And so I'd do it, and then he'd be like, no, do that. And like, he kept telling me I was doing it wrong. Yep. And in my head, I was like, no, I'm not doing it wrong, man. I've done this. And like, in my head, it was so frustrating, because I was like, go somewhere else. Like, I know how to do this. Like, if it's the kipping or, you know, anything like that, be right here. Tell me how to do it, because I don't know how to do any of that. But the deadlift, leave me alone. Like, and they just like.
And it's funny you brought it's funny you actually bring the topic up of why CrossFit, because again, going back to me not wanting to say names of prior gyms that I tried before staying at where I'm at right now. That was like, I want to say one of the 2 gyms I went to was that. You know, we went in there, and I think our mistake was saying, hey, this is, you know, we're hunting for, we didn't even say we were hunting for a CrossFit gym, but we said, hey, we've never done CrossFit. This is our first week trying it. And we've been, you know, looking around and stuff. And the guy had me do how to do a proper push-up and a proper air squat, which for me was like, come on, dude, like
I'm an athlete,
you know. Exactly, you know. It's like someone trying to tell you how to do an everyday thing, like how to brush your teeth or something like that. You know, it's kind of, and that totally sets you off. I agree, it sets you off. And the beauty of this gym where I am at is that the minute we walked in there, they just told us, this is the workout of the day, this is the move, or these are the moves that we're doing, these are the weights, this is the recommended weight for both male and females. Have you ever done any of these moves? Then it was a yes, no, okay, cool, so you've done this, okay, so what weight have you done, or what's, you know, but a more tailored down to you, not just totally seeing you as, oh, you've never done this, or, you know, it actually, in a way, it kind of scares you. It makes you feel like you're not part of you don't belong.
Right. That's how I felt. I was like, oh, I'm just in their way. Like, he can't progress with the class.
Like, you're an obstacle to
them. He's over here teaching me how to do a deadlift that I already know how to do. And that's the type of coaching, you know, that, you know, that I need. And I think a lot of people, I think that's the turnoff for a lot of people who actually go. It's just that type of thing. Because in my mind, I'm like you, I go in with an open mind, like, teach me something. If I don't know how to do it, teach me. But if I know how to do it, don't teach me. Right. Like, if I know how to do it, give me that respect. If I don't know how to do it,
ain't broke, don't fix it.
If I do know how to do it, I'm gonna look over at you like, what is this thing? Like, help me out with this. Like, I'll ask if I need it. So that was my one experience with CrossFit. But I love it. I actually think it's a great thing for athletes. I think it's a great thing for any sport. Truthfully, I think it can build more explosion in athletes, and I really think it's great. I really do like it. So I really wanted to ask you about it, because I want to know your experience with it.
Well, going just back to the whole relationship from, you know, a student, or, you know, someone who's practicing a sport, to the coach. Again, it goes back to the relationship that you have and the relationship that you build with the people that are behind that place, you know. With CrossFit Antietam, it just felt right. It felt right from the get-go. All the coaches, if I may, you know, head coach Sarissa Hebden, Ashton Bagley, Kendall Watt, Lindsay Falkenberg, Jake Roberts. I mean, I'm surrounded by top-notch guys and girls who've done it for years, and they allow me to push myself to the point where I know I can push to. And if I need any kind of guidance or anything that I am not aware on how to do, they're there for me. Like, I know that I have that trust with them, that they're there for me anytime I need them. But if I don't need them, they're willing to just let me do my thing, because they know I got it. And even if they let me do it, if they do see a thing here and there, they don't belittle me, but they tell me, like, hey, this is what I can see as a potential area of opportunity for you, of how you could do it better, because in the long run, if you do it this way, this is what you can gain from it. And then right there, you, as being the person that's trying to do or get somewhere, that's where you really gotta be like, okay, cool, like, it makes sense. Yes, and even you sometimes, as athletes, we don't see ourselves in the situation. You know, we're so stuck on just doing it that we it's sometimes good to see the outside perspective of others, you know, you know, it's good to receive feedback, because we don't see what they're seeing. We're just focused on our thing, you know. And once we're doing it and someone gives you that feedback, personally speaking, I'm very good at not taking it personal, even if it's kind of a harsh
criticism.
For me, it's like, okay, if they're telling me, that's because they're seeing something. They're just not getting, words out of nowhere and just, giving them to me. No, they're telling me this because it's something that's important, or it's evident, you know?
Yeah. So you saying my deadlift wasn't on?
No, I wasn't there. No, hey man, trust me, I bet you can deadlift quite well. You probably could deadlift a lot heavier than I can for sure.
The show muscles ain't real.
It's all for show.
It's all for show.
No, it's one of those things where, man, again, that gym, the people that go to train there and the people who coach there, I couldn't ask for a better gym. I mean, you could pretty much throw me into any gym, and yes, it'll feel like a good workout because it's what we do, you know. But at the end of the day, man, again, for me, what matters most is the way you walk in there and the way you walk out of there, how you feel. And if it feels good, then you're in the right place.
Well, I love it. So you're part of an excellent MMA gym. You're part of an excellent CrossFit gym, and you're also in your professional life part of an MMA team and a CrossFit team. And in your professional career, you're part of another team.
Correct.
You're part of the police force, right?
Yes.
How is that, man? I mean, that's a tough job, right?
It's a tough job. Yeah, absolutely. It's a tough job. It's what I love to do, though.
Yeah.
As cheesy as it may sound to a lot of people, I love what I do.
What drove you into that? What got you into deciding you wanted to be a police officer?
Really what it was is, so I'm originally from El Paso, Texas. Grew up in Mexico, in Juarez, but all my education I did in El Paso. And when I graduated high school, I went on to the University of Texas at El Paso, and I was studying criminal justice. And during that time, while I was going to school, obviously at that time I had already, started living with my wife. We were close to having our first child, my oldest daughter, and I went into the sales industry. So I used to sell phones at a mall kiosk. That's what I used to be doing. Yeah, it's a rough business too. It pays well when you sell, but if you don't sell, especially on a straight commission job, it can be tough. Yeah. So things were going good, and suddenly the opportunity came up for me to manage my own cell phone store in Utah. So back then, I didn't have anything to worry about, anything to leave behind in my hometown. So, I talked to my wife, the opportunity came up, and we were like, let's do it. Left everything behind, came over to Utah, started from scratch. And when we moved over here, before moving over here, I had just finished getting my associate's degree in criminal justice at the University of Texas at El Paso. But then my daughter was born. Life happens, we start taking care of everything, just kind of, now it's not worrying about myself. Now it's worrying about two people, not just myself. Life changes, man. It throws you a lot of things your way, and it was just one of those things where, okay, like, what am I going to do now? I always said, I'm going to go back to school. Never did, never have till now. I have not. I want to, but it's just life, know. It gets difficult sometimes.
Especially with little girls. Man. Yeah, and I have two, so it's trouble, man. Now I'm surrounded by 3 girls at my house, and you have no idea how that feels. That's rough. just the one for me.
Yep. And but still, what it's like, and then, just as the years went on, I just figured, like, okay, well, I haven't finished, I haven't even gotten my bachelor's, but I'm somewhat on the road for criminal justice. What can I do? So I made the decision, to just join the police academy, do the entire thing. As soon as I finished, my idea overall was, I want to be a police officer. I want to help the community. I want to help the people around me. Now I have kids, so for me, it's like, I want to be part of the reason why this town is safe, especially because not just I live in it, but my entire family lives in it, and people that I have love for live in it. And if I can put in just a little bit of what it's behind the safety and well-being of my community, that's what I want to do.
I love that.
And again, for a lot of people, I respect any line of work. I respect the sales industry. I respect business, marketing, anything, any kind of way of making a living. I respect it.
Yeah.
For me, that's my way.
Yeah.
And obviously, I mean, we're all in it to make money because that's what pays the bills, right? But at the end of the day, like I tell my wife every time people ask me, like, do you love your job? The easiest way for me to put it to people is, for a very long time, I'd never felt so looking forward to go to work every day.
That's rare.
It's very rare. And usually the way it works is you start a job, and what happens, especially is because of money, right? You're getting a good amount of money, and you're like, oh hell, like I love this job, it pays well. But then you start seeing things you're not happy with, things you don't agree with, or on the managerial side, you're probably disagreeing with a supervisor. They change the pay scale, something just happens in the middle of that job that you just start not liking that job as much as when you started, right? And then what happens? Your morale goes down. Your attitude just starts being overall crappy. You pretty much just go into the routine every day of waking up, getting ready for work, punch in, do your 8 hours, your 12 hours, however your schedule works. You're out of there, and then you're back to your little time that you have with your family or alone or whatever it is you got going on. But then, you have to snap out of that and just realize, okay, how long can this go? You know what I mean? For me, this job, it's just something different every day, but more than anything, that's what it is for me. It just, my key motivator is that, every day that goes into my job, I not only enjoy it myself, but I know that I'm doing something good for other people. And especially safety and well-being for me it's a big one, especially because I have kids, I have family, and again, for me, if I can be just a little bit of that part that comes into play of keeping everyone safe and happy and everything good. I'm down for that.
That's such a rare attribute in a lot of people to be the one to say, well, something needs to be done. Someone, and I'm going to be the one to do it. I can do it. I have the ability. I'm going to do it. Right. That's rare, and it's pretty commendable. Thank you for your service. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
One question I wanted to ask was, so I'm sure you've seen this in the gym a lot of times. People who come in and they want to learn how to fight, but really, it's just because they want to be able to handle themselves in the streets. I'm against street fights. I'm against, I go out on the weekends, and the last thing I'm doing is wanting to get into a fight. Last thing I'm wanting to do is any of that. So to discourage that, let people know when they get into a street fight, what are the charges they're going to be most likely put against them? If they learn how to fight like an MMA fighter and then pull that crap in the streets, what they're going to be looking at?
For the most part, assault's the biggest one. You're pretty much assaulting someone. That's huge. You're not supposed to do that. You're not going to walk off up to someone in a public place and just hit them for no reason, or even if you have a reason, they got you upset over something with them, or some kind of disagreement you have with them. You don't do that. Right. Funny you mention it. I get scared seeing street fights. I get amped up. When I'm fighting, I'm super relaxed. Nerves kick in. The anxiety. But it's mainly excitement. You're excited to showcase what you've trained for. Right. You just want to expose everything. You're striking, your ground game. You want to wrestle. You want to do this, that. But it's a sport. It's regulated. There's rules behind it. It's controlled. There's a referee in there making sure, you know what I mean. You're tested, making sure you're not taking anything that, if you are, potentially you could kill someone. Right. Man, I see a street fight, especially females. Man, I can't see it. I see it if I see a bar fight, stuff like that. Funny, right? What I do for work.
I agree.
It's part of life, right? Stuff happens, but you're not supposed to do that. You know what I mean? And I'm very, I just try to be as positive as I can. For me, it's like, man, why can't we all just get along?
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Like for me, it's like, hey man, like, not supposed to disagree with people. If you got something to say negative, keep it to yourself, man. Don't tell it to other people. Like, don't make the negativity grow.
Yeah.
You know? So for me, it's more about the positive energy. For me, it's like, why can't we all just get along? You know, like if we all just got along, this whole world would be a much better place to live in, you know?
Yeah, I agree. When a lot of fighters you'll see, you know, the trash talk before the fights and all that. And sometimes you'll see animosity, and, you know, even if they really don't like each other, my favorite part is after the fight,
The respect.
the shaking of hands, the taking pictures together. I mean, that to me, that's the best part. 'Cause you have these two people who put everything they could into this and put their whole heart, and then they're the ones displaying it. So why would they not have respect for each other after it's all said and done? You can say what you want beforehand.
Yeah.
It hypes fights. It does whatever. People get excited about it, whatever. But both knowing that you put everything you could into that, then you walk in, you know, you put on your display, win, lose, or draw, you shared that with that person. So how could you not have respect for that person?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, I feel when you fight someone, you're locked in that cage with someone. As weird as it may sound, it's a very intimate moment between you two.
100%.
And it's a very intimate moment. It's a very personal moment. You know, you're pretty much, you're beating each other up.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's all about its respect. You know, and yeah, like nowadays, recently we've seen it happen so many times. You know, the professional fighters aren't even the ones.
Yeah.
Painting the perfect picture, right? Instead, they're doing the total opposite of, you know, just to get that big paycheck. You know, they're amped up. They're talking all that crap, you know, between both fighters and disrespecting. See, I'm all for. You can sell a fight. I'm a very strong believer, and you're able to sell a fight. You can really sell a fight with skill and animosity, but a respectful animosity.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like if you and I are fighting, hey, you're thinking that you can beat me and your skills are much better than mine, but guess what? I have that same thought that I'm better than you and my skills are a lot better than yours. So let's put those two together, lock them in, let's settle it that way. You know what I mean? But at the end, win or lose, you gain my respect, I gain your respect. Why? Because we shared that moment.
Yep.
But aside from that, after all that, nothing personal, no hard feelings. It's all the handshaking, the hug it out, whatever it is. I mean, I'm not saying go sip tea and coffee with them the next day or anything like that. But, you know, there's respect.
Yeah.
But you could still sell a fight with good, respectful animosity and the skill alone. How many fighters, I mean, nowadays, you can still name a lot of fighters that nowadays, they still don't need to talk that much crap to another fighter to sell their fights. I mean, you got Robbie Lawler.
Yeah, exactly. That's my one I was going to go to.
You got Carlos Condit. I mean, for me, I'm mentioning right now the fighters that I look up to because of not just their skill, but the way they carry themselves as fighters.
Yeah.
Carlos Condit, Jorge Masvidal, Robbie Lawler. Man, aside from what's going on with TJ, I used to love TJ. You know, I still love him, but you know, there's things
outside of
what's going on currently. You know, it's like I've never seen them, you know, post fight brawls or anything like that, or even pre-fight brawls. Like I've seriously looked up to some fighters, and the minute they start doing that, as much as I don't want to, because I look up to them so much, it's kind of a downer, you know? Because again, it's that outside perspective. You're being seen by others, and as a fighter, MMA alone is seen by a lot of people that aren't too savvy on the sport as, oh, you guys are savages. None of these people have education. And reality is, a lot of these people are educated. They just chose to fight as their career, to make money for them and their families. They just chose that path.
They put their studies elsewhere.
But I mean, you got lawyers, you got accountants, you got people with degrees.
Rich Franklin was a math teacher. Math's the hardest thing in the world. I suck at math. People think I'm educated. I don't know nothing about math.
I know some math, but not good math. You know, not engineering math or anything like that. But it's one of those things where I certainly think that as fighters, we can all do a better job of promoting fights in a much more positive way, but still exciting way.
Yeah.
There's no need. I mean, there's no need to do that. There really is. I agree. It does. Unfortunately, it does sell tickets.
Yeah.
It does.
It does.
Because people, just like anything, I mean, you see something, you see a car wreck, what do a lot of people do? The first thing they do, instead of reporting it or something, what do? They flip out their phone, they want to record it, put it on their Snapchat, it's an accident, whatever, And it's like, come on, man. Like, you could do a better job at just promoting yourself, promoting your fight. I'm pretty... again, it's sad to say, promoters sometimes love it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure they would appreciate a much more safer approach, a more positive approach of promoting their events than the one we've seen lately of some people.
We're working for Stillfist now. The last thing we want to deal with is a pre-fight brawl. Last thing Kevin or Pat want to deal with is two people facing off and starting to throw punches or camps going out. That's the last thing we want to see. And this being now my job to promote fights, I like to have. I don't know if you've seen the episodes. I do a little trash talk segment at the end, but it's all fun. Like I do it all in fun because I think trash talking is dumb. Yeah. I do understand real animosity, and if you have that, then that's fine. If you really don't like the person, that's fine. Yeah. But don't manufacture it, don't fake it, don't pull a Conor McGregor and try to build something up that's not there.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about you can sell fights without it, the longest time the UFC did not have a lot of that.
No.
For the longest time, and they were getting really good numbers, and it's when it was in its growing stage.
Yep.
And then they stopped doing that, and they started putting all their money into the trash talking fights. All the fighters that had the worst animosity were the ones getting the biggest promotion, and they're missing out on the Jessica Andrades. I mean, how many times did they not promote one of her fights? And she's one of the biggest. She's a beast. And until Amanda Nunes started knocking everyone out, she wasn't getting any promotion because she doesn't talk.
Talent alone, noise.
But all of a sudden she started talking a little bit, and then now we want to promote her as the champ. She was knocking people out. She was that fighter beforehand.
I remember that. I remember with her. I mean, even when she fought to defend for the first time, I think it was versus Ronda Rousey.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that whole event was all Ronda Rousey. It was never the champion, and I think even Joe Rogan tweeted. Hey, it's kind of like an actual diss at the UFC, his employer, saying, hey, like it's funny to see how this UFC 230, like whatever event number it was, can't recall right now, but it's kind of funny how this whole thing's based on Ronda and not the champ.
Right.
And then comes the day of the fight, and then look what Nunes does to Rousey, which pretty much leaves everyone like, what the hell just happened?
Ones and twos, that's all she threw, man. That was beautiful. Right down the middle.
And then what happens when Joe Rogan puts her on the mic? The first thing she does is, hey, by the way, thank you for that tweet you put out, because it really opened up people's eyes that that's what's happening.
They wanted to sell the negativity.
Yep.
So, with all that being said, you've got a fight coming up April 26th for Stillfist. Yeah. Your belt is on the line against Riker Vandertulen, 2-0. How do you feel about? Is he probably one of the more accomplished wrestlers you've been put up against?
Based on what I have heard about him, I would say so.
Mm-hmm.
I fought other wrestlers, and I fought other grapplers.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the most accomplished, I would say yes. Mm-hmm. He's 2-0 right now. It's one of those where I honestly haven't even seen any footage of him fighting. I'm one of those who worries more about what I want to do and what I'm, my game plan. Mm-hmm. Whatever he throws my way, it's one of those where I'll be ready for it, and I will pretty much act upon whatever he gives me the day of the fight. Mm-hmm. Nothing but respect for him. I'm happy to share the moment with him inside that cage, defend my belt, and my overall goal is to keep my belt. That's the goal. Right. And so I'm just hoping I get the best Riker Vandertulen that day.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he's going to get the best version of me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember watching a video of you. It was like 5 years ago, and I believe it was 5 years ago. But he was against a wrestler, obviously, because he was just shooting on you left and right. And I was surprised at how quickly you were threatening from your back. You were threatening triangles and everything from your back. Your jiu-jitsu, is obviously going to be muchly improved since that time.
Right.
But are you comfortable on your back? Do you feel if I'm on my back, then that's not that threatening, or is it something?
I think it's always been a thing, man. Like for me, it's I'm pretty well attacking, but I'm very used to working off my back. Like I don't settle being on my back. I'm active on my back. Like I just don't sit there and let you do whatever you want while you're on top. I work a lot off my back. If you give me an arm, I'll work an arm bar. If you give me the neck, I'm working the triangle. If you give me a sweep, I'll sweep you, whatever it is, I'm not, you could say I'm a lazy grappler just because I'm typically on my back, but when it's time to work, I work a lot off my back. It's where I'm mainly more aggressive, I want to say. Wrestling, majority of my fights, they usually go just stand up, but I guess it's just because I defend my takedowns as much as I can to keep it where I'm mostly comfortable, which is standing. Yeah. And realistically too, I'm very aware that my level of wrestling isn't up to the same level of other people that I'm fighting, including Riker. But for me, I'm working hard to get out of those positions that I do not want to be in, to get back to the positions where I'm mostly comfortable in, which is, so if I can get that done, I know I can get my hand raised that night. Yeah. And again, you can have so many plans, but once you're in a fight, sometimes plans go out the window too, because you're expecting something, but then something totally different comes your way, and you got to just quickly adapt to it and work from there. So
yeah. Well, every fighter lies to me when I ask him this question, because after the fight they all say, no, I knew I was going to win that way. But when you visualize this win, when you visualize the victory and your hand being raised, how do you see it happening?
I either see this fight being finished via knockout, either with a hit to the body or a hit to the head, or I see a good strike coming either to the body or to the head, and then going for a submission.
All right. Good. Thank you for answering that truthfully. So everyone's like, oh.
With all respect to Riker, I'm pretty sure he's training just as hard as I am. And in this sport, anything can happen. Absolutely. I'm well aware that the same thing can happen to me if I'm not careful when I go out there. And we're gonna see who comes out on top that April 26th.
Awesome, I love it. Last question I got for you before I have you talk a little trash. What's it? Obviously, I'm here on behalf of Still Fist, and you are a champion here at Still Fist. How has been your experience with Still Fist? How do you like fighting for this promotion? What could we be doing better?
I love it. I actually want to take a minute to thank both Kevin and Patton for the opportunity again to be able to just showcase what I do. It's been a great experience. They've taken care of everything that I've needed. It's been a long time coming, I can say that. I've been in Utah for about 8 years now. Started out me going to the events, just going, not fighting, and then they would eventually reach out to me to fight for Steel Fist, and it was either one thing or another. Life got in the way where I just couldn't. I was inactive or injured or whatever. Excuse me, and we could never make it happen until the first fight in September against Clay Abrams happened, and the whole process was smooth, man. They offered me the options. They told me what was there, what I can do. Everything was everything was pretty much clear. There was no gimmicks, no sneaky. Some promoters, it's sad to say, but a lot of promoters they promise you something, they say they're going to do something, and then they let you down. And as a fighter that wants to be the least of your concerns, especially when you're training for a fight. you want to be focused in just fighting. You don't want to get behind the politics and the whole. That should be the easy stuff. Right. You know what I mean? So with the Patton brothers, it's been a very, very smooth ride. I like the relationship that I have with them. I like the fact that if I need something from them, I can reach out to them and they're prompt to respond on whatever it is that's on my mind, and it's reciprocal. If they need something from me, they never bother me. They never call me. They never message me unless it's something business related. Aside from that, they let me do my thing. I'm not worried about them hassling me or bothering me while I'm trying to cut weight or while I'm training. It's super smooth, man. I can't complain. It's one of those where we've kept a very positive professional relationship between the two of us, and that's why we're here.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that. Of course, when I was shopping around with promotions that I wanted to do this gig with, there's not a lot to choose from, but Stiff is at the top of the list because they're the number one promotion in Utah, and I didn't know. I only kind of knew Kevin and Pat through just I think Pat started following me first on Facebook, and he just liked my stuff, and I'm like, dude, I'm not even fighting. Why is this guy even paying attention to me? Yeah. And they always seemed real friendly. And then I decided I wanted to do this gig, and I wanted to be interviewing these fighters, so I met with them, and there's a real good feeling, good vibe right off the get-go.
Yep.
And I love hearing that it's not only me that feels that, it's not only me that understands what these guys are doing and what they're trying to create. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and just recently the way their approach of how they promote their events, I think it's outstanding. Us doing this, having the opportunity to sit down, chat about an upcoming event. This is huge for local mixed martial arts. This is huge.
I hope so. That's the goal.
I love the way both Kevin and Pat are always, putting their posters as profile pictures on social media. They're putting banners. They're going out to the streets, handing out flyers. You name it. They're masters at what they do.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing, and they know well how to do it.
Yeah.
And that's evident of why they're at the top of local MMA. That's why they're the number one here in Utah. And I think that anybody who questions it, there's no doubt that Steel Fist is at the top of their game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's that's why we teamed up, and I decided we're doing great. Let's take it to the next level. So that's why we're amping everything up, and we're going to do this, keep doing this as long as it's working, as long as it's putting more butts in the seats. Because the truth of the matter is, that's how we take care of you guys. That's how we get you guys better taken care of. The more butts we get in seats, so that's our main goal, is to get more butts in seats, because that's how we take care of the fighters. And without you guys, we don't have a sport. Without you, we don't have this entertainment. So, the goal is to get behind you guys, and this is the best way we can do it. All right, so enough of that. Now I got to do trash talk. Have you seen the show? Do you know this segment? Do you know what I'm doing?
No.
All right. Okay.
I may be.
Okay. So I always do it at the end of the show.
Okay.
And I just, because I think trash talking is so dumb. So, and most of it's just fake anyways.
I'm actually gonna sound I'm gonna sound ridiculous doing it.
You don't have to. You don't see. This is the thing. No, this is the thing. Is it's generated for you.
Okay.
It's all of it. Say what I keep saying is all of the trash talk sounds so fake, like someone's writing it for them anyways. So I looked up a generator online, and I press a button, and it generates the trash talk for you. And so it's not really your words. Okay. It's not really anything. It's just a fun little thing I do just to say it's so fake. This is how fake it is. So what you're gonna say is, you can make it your own, but it's basically, on April 26th. I will beat Riker Vandertulen because he is and then there's 4 words. It generates 4 words for you, and you just put those 4 words together.
Am I going to see something here?
I'm going to flip this around. Okay. I'm going to flip this around for you.
So I'm going to say, give me some time to read.
Yeah. I'm going to flip it around for you, and you're going to hit the little red button that says generate insult, and then you're going to hit it and say your line. So it can't get unplugged, so I got to be very careful. So go ahead, hit that red button.
So hit generate insult.
Yeah. It's stupid.
All right, it's going.
You got it? It's dumb, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's your camera right there. You can say to that camera.
All right. Well, My name is Agustin Valdez, and I will be fighting to defend my bantamweight title on April 26, 2019, and I will be competing versus the turd-pimping dung rider, Riker Vandertulen.
I love it, man. You really made that your own on that. I like it. Most people just go exactly what I tell them. I love it. That's you can think on your feet. That's what makes you a good fighter. All right, everybody. April 26th. Steel Fist. Do you have anybody you want to thank? Any of your sponsors? Anybody you want to?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to thank everybody who is watching, everybody who is supporting. I want to thank my biggest supporters, my family, my wife Ariana, my two daughters, Ariani and Alina. I want to thank all my friends and family for their love and support. And everybody behind me. I want to thank all of my One Hit family, Bang Muay Thai family, Coach Aldo, Coach Jarrett, Joe Rodriguez, LJ Schultz, Matt Wilkinson, all of my training partners, they know who they are. I also want to thank everybody at CrossFit Antietam, Sarissa Hebden, Kendall Watt, Ashton Bagley, Jake Roberts, Ryan Davis, Lindsey Falkenberg. You know who you are, and all the people behind that gym. I truly appreciate everything you do with me to get me to where I'm at. And may I say something in Spanish for the people
Absolutely.
that are watching? Les habla su amigo Agustín Valdez. Les quiero enviar un saludo a todos mis amigos y familia de Ciudad Juárez, Chihuahua y El Paso, Texas. Solamente les quiero agradecer todo su apoyo y cariño. Espero contar con su apoyo este 26 de abril de 2019 en mi pelea para Steel Fist contra Riker Vandertulen. Y les mando un fuerte abrazo y los quiero mucho.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Augustine, for your time. Thank you, Steel Fist, for putting on this event, April 26th. Don't forget to get your tickets at stillfistfight.com. Look us up on Instagram at Steel Fist Fight, on Facebook at Steel Fist Fight Night. You can find this podcast on iTunes and YouTube. Everybody, be good to yourself. Be good to each other. I love you. Adios.